Hello and good afternoon and welcome to the Lunchtime Cafe. Today I'm your host Patrick Soko, and as usual we have a fully packed program for you, our dear viewers. To just get started, we remind you of what the Lunchtime Cafe comes with. It comes with a full package of forgotten stories, where we get to remind you of events that happened on this day last year and years back. And we also go to our next segment, which is the emerging stories, where we tend to remind you some of the stories. We give you some of the stories that are trending, stories that you are expecting to come in the main news at 19:30. That's the emerging stories segment. And talking about the emerging stories segment, you don't want to miss, because politically there is quite a number of issues that are happening, and want to bring it to you so that you can get to know what are some of the things that are happening. But also remember that when it comes to the emerging stories, you too, our dear viewers, can give us an update pertaining to what is happening in your various localities. The idea is to make sure that we keep informing one another pertaining to current affairs. But let's just get started with the forgotten stories, so that we remind you of what really transpired on this day. Some of the major stories that we covered here on Camnet TV, not just another channel.
Republican President Dr. Edgar Chagwa Lungu has flagged off the export of crown berries to the People's Republic of China. This makes Zambia the first African country in the SADC region to have its blueberries reach the Chinese market. The head of state says the Zambian agriculture sector has grown to a level where the country is able to meet international standards of trade.
It's a joy for me to be here today to officiate at this very important event, the launch of the export of fresh blueberry fruits to China by Zambezi Berry Company. There's definitely no doubt that this blueberry project will raise the profile of the agricultural sector in our country, particularly in the horticultural subsector. With this project, we have also become the only country in the SADC region to have access to the lucrative market for blueberries in China. This is a significant development in the history of Zambia, contrary to those who are saying PF means by a farmer, by a farm. We are farmers' friends, and we make sure that farming succeeds in Zambia. Ladies and gentlemen, for this economy to grow, we have to focus on transforming the agricultural sector and changing our mindset to believe that the agricultural sector can be transformed to be export-oriented. It is pleasing to note that even during the current COVID-19 pandemic, the country has the capacity to export agricultural products to competitive markets. I'm aware that the Chinese market imports a significant quantity of blueberries from countries in North and South America. I'm therefore pleased that we are positioning ourselves to compete for a larger share of the blueberry market in China. The agricultural industry has grown to a level where we are now able to meet international standards of trade. We have the capacity to penetrate most of the international markets. All we have to do is to increase our production and put in place appropriate systems that support exports.
Zambezi Berry Company Managing Director Graham Ray has called on President Lungu to intervene in the 5-year water permit which the Water Resource Management Authority WAMA has granted his company, considering that the project has the capacity to go up to 12 years.
The Water Resource Management Authority, known as WAMA, ought to be responsive to the needs and demands of the agricultural sector, as this directly affects investment in the sector, which leads to lack of production stability and long-term planning, and consequently no farmer, let alone a financier, would be willing to invest in the water sector with plantation crops that take 5 to 7 years to cover costs, with a lifespan of 20 years plus. Macadamia life span is 100 years. As you can see, everything revolves around water, Your Excellency. We developed this farm from bush into what you see here now. which is a very big irrigation farm of approximately 1,000 hectares. Employment numbers from 2002 have increased from 100 workers to 1,400 employees currently. Now, Honourable Your Excellency, we employ more than the mines employ, and we've got the ability to create more employment than the mines can. Farming, Your Excellency, is sustainable. What you put into the ground, you get out of the ground this year, next year, and for the life of you and for the life of your children. Unfortunately, mining is not annually renewable, and no one's going to give it back to us.
People's Republic of China Ambassador to Zambia, Mr. Li Jing, says a number of Chinese firms have grasped the opportunity to invest in the agriculture sector in Zambia.
Exporting the Zambia-grown fresh blueberries to China is a fresh story for agricultural cooperation between the two countries. It will contribute a lot to the promotion of the bilateral economic and trade cooperation and the development of friendly relations between China and Zambia. And we would certainly like to see that more quality agricultural products of Zambia would land in the Chinese market. We are still making greater efforts to promote the exporting of Zambia agricultural products to China, such as beef and lamb.
Meanwhile, Mr. Lee has assured that Zambia's soybean cake is undergoing the access procedure of inspection and quarantine and is expected to be exported to China next year. Prudence Tota for Camnet TV News.
Chama, aged 57, of New Kasama, former defense minister in the Patriotic Front government.
A former defense minister in the Patriotic Front government, and Mr. Brian Misani Yoni, 847 years of Matero compound, a former diplomatic staff at the Zambian embassy in Ethiopia for the late offense of attempted murder, contrary to section 215, subsection A of Cap 87 of the laws of Zambia. It is alleged that the two persons on the 6th of June 2015 in Schili of Mlabesi district of the Republic of Zambia, jointly and whilst acting together with others unknown, did attempt to unlawfully cause the death of Mushaukwa, 847 years of Sesheke district. The two are currently in police custody.
The opposition Patriotic Front has been blaming the UPND of alleged targeted arrests. Leader of the opposition in Parliament, Brian Mundubile, spoke to journalists when he and other PF officials went to check on Mr. Chama at Woodlands Police Station.
I want to assure him that we will continue to offer checks and balances. We will continue to question the manner in which he's governing. So when he addressed Parliament, he promised the Zambian people that he was going to govern using the rule of law. The Zambian people are watching. They are watching. If this is what it means to govern by using the rule of law through targeted and selective arrests, then we as Zambian people, we leave it up to the people to judge. Really, as to what is happening now is exactly what the people voted for.
PF Chairperson of Information and Publicity Committee, Rafael Nakachinda, could not leave without adding his voice.
We can only brace ourselves for hard times, but the good thing is that those hard times always birth a revolution against tyrants, against dictators, against vindictive leaders. So to this effect, Misaka Ndechirema is just helping to ignite in the hearts of the Zambian people a revolution against his brutal approach to governance.
PF Shwangandu Member of Parliament, Stephen Kampyongo, had this to say.
Honorable Davis Chama is in strong spirits, and we are happy to see him in such spirits. And we are encouraged that he's looking forward to his day in court. But to you, our members, remain steadfast and strong. This is a democracy that we have chosen for ourselves. We came from the opposition ourselves to form government, and we are back in the opposition. So this is a democracy that we have chosen for ourselves. But what we are not going to accept is to be trodden upon and make us scared and get to abdicate our duties.
But United Party for National Development National Deputy Youth Spokesperson Trevor Mwinde says there is no expiry date to a crime, adding that it is not necessary to implicate President Hakainde Hichilema when the police is doing its work.
People can want to say anything for political mileage, but if you did anything wrong, any corrupt activity, any violence that which you are involved in, the law will visit you. If you kill the people, the law must catch you. The law must follow you because the law must be there to protect me, the one who is in government today, and somebody who is not in government, somebody who is out there. So if people feel that when we are in power today, we can do almost anything we want, that's not the way to go. Give your job.
Patrick Soko, Camnet News in Lusaka.
Political activist Dante Saunders has refuted claims by some Patriotic Front PF members alleging that President Hichilema is persecuting them. This follows a line of investigation conducted on some party members who fuse on political line. Mr. Saunders says this during an exclusive interview Sunday.
Well, first and foremost, I think PF, it's laughable. It's really laughable. And it's a height of really trying to confuse themselves from within themselves. To say today that they are being persecuted by UPND. I wish they have a memory and just go back to the way they were persecuting opposition when they were in power. What I am seeing today and what people are forcing HH to do today is to bring up all this to this nation as quickly as possible. And that is not to say that it's going to the party cadres. No, it's not going there. We are far from that. The plunderers are plunderers. We know them. Right at the moment, they cannot say that HH is persecuting them because it's the other way around. They are interfering with the law. That is the way I'm seeing it.
Mr. Saunders has also underscored the need to embrace professionalism in the civil service over political cadreism as he pledges to support economic recovery process.
That is what HH is working on. So they can't call it persecution. If you are being questioned, if you are a permanent secretary and you are being questioned, answer the questions. If you are not a party cadre, I'm sure you'll go through. So for me, what I want, why we voted, why the masses voted for UPND is specifically to clean up the mess. Civil service. That goes for all the wings. Above all, to clean corruption. So those people who are corrupt, of course they'll be crying every day, hey, we are being persecuted. You will be persecuted for the right reason. Not trumped up stories. There's no trumping up stories here. We are bringing evidence. This is your evidence. And I can assure you, I'm not in UPND, but I will raise the people. We will rise with the people to force that our money must be brought back to this country.
Alex Shimba, Camnet News in Lusaka.
As the saying goes, a healthy population is a prosperous nation.
While access to quality healthcare may no longer be an issue in other areas, it is not the case in many rural areas like Kasengo Ward in Chikankata district. The people here walk about 15 to 20 kilometers to access the nearest health center, and mostly they access services in Kafue district. It was a moment of joy for the people of Kasengo Ward as the area member of parliament commissioned the clinic, and Chikankata constituency Kasengo Ward councillor Shepard Mwene has held the area member of parliament for the initiative.
We want to inform the nation that before the MP came to give us this structure, our women used to accept the maternal care under the tree. Even our children used to access the maternal care under the tree. But now that this is structure.
Conrad Ngoma is Chikankata District Council Chairperson.
Uhonto ogu kuli abagupati igugwihamali munkomu atazwa ku CDF atazwa guli agugwiha munkomu gutiji yagweyi kuli abagupati egicho tubwene wawa nga twagaje hasuno kaboneka mbuli uti kanini pati chintu chipati chakuti yahangwa nsege awaga sengo insege yiminina inseba habala.
Speaking when he handed over the facility, United Party for National Development Chikankata constituency member of parliament Kabwe Mwinga is confident that the government will be able to provide drugs and other necessities so that the people can have easy access.
What motivated me is that one day as I was going around the constituency, I found ladies, rather women who were being checked of their pregnancies and some other issues who were actually being done outside under the tree. So it prompted me such that one day I thought I should do something for them, which I believe I've done, and it is my sincere hope that government will open to actually bring drugs here so that people can get the necessary health facility that they actually need.
The lawmaker also took time to implore the people of Chikankata district to take time to register as voters despite the process being frustrating.
It's my sincere hope that probably by today or tomorrow, all the issues that are being surrounding our constituencies are going to be attended to. As I earlier alluded to the other day, Mr. Shindamo was at Mulungushi International Conference, where he assured us that voter registration would actually be, officers would actually be at the polling stations for 30 days, of which, to my surprise, there are some assorting. Now they are talking of 7 days. Now I want to urge them that this country belongs to all of us.
Patrick Soko, Camnet News in Chikankata. Compound in Chawama constituency has been experiencing a rise in crime levels. Alcohol, drug and substance abuse have been on the increase, coupled with poor parenting, which has seen a rise in juvenile delinquency. This dam, which has been at the center of controversy for irregularities ranging from open-air burning to illegal dumping of waste in broad daylight, is where gangs spend most of their time. And this house houses about 15 boys and girls, part of the gang, which caused havoc on Friday 14th November 2021, terrifying the people of this neighborhood, as one of the residents explains.
Whereby kuna pesa kafana woka pena manamba na kuri wafana wanawankala pa nyumba inango pa neighbor part
bankala bakazi beka na wamuna, maybe there are almost 20 so mu nyumba imose mu one room. Imagine mugangari mu one room muri 20. Ero abafana abo bapezeka manje bamenya abantu. It was yesterday night paniwe anapezeka ati even ma damages yanachiteka. Meanwhile mu nyumba mwene mwana wacha ma damages ayo munina mwana odwala whereby still akapena lero vinga ngale ko result ngangale result ya bwanza kama pa security siri bwino because now ba police mukaenda ku police the same night kwenda ku police ba police wapushingirana endako iwe bana bwera pa time ni shawa wafana wapwanya vonse kono baba nakuba ma dishes and the other things.
They are pleased that the Zambia police and other law enforcement wings help bring sanity.
Munyumba muni mwana wodwala munyumba tapaka anado gona na hospital mwana atomushita discharge kuseni ku fuka majanki because condition amena alimu safu nikomvera vya chongo mwaviona tifuna tandizo kuno kujona wadi majanki yavuta padamu ndipo amene bapezeka noto kaenda ku polisi kuti babwere wa polisi bachedwa kubwera funa baende baja bayopa wa polisi boma yanganepo muno mujona wadi wasungira chani padamu bashita na malenti muno mukombo mujona wadi na nyumba amene basungira chani
nkala mu more than 30-50 years muno mukombo but izaka izvana manje batekenga advantage yoti vutisa sitigona Wankhala pa nyumba imozi na wakazi 20 so munyumba na kupanga chongo kuhuruma bana bangono. Please boma ikako ninzebe bana mubatenge mafuneko vochita kuti mwapase kominda bakalime kuti tizinga wokuta muno Mzambia kuti bana funa kuphwanya manyumba y'abantu kupaya abantu iyayi. Ndiye dandaulanga na dandaula kuboma kuti itikireko nzeru. Nayo polisi kana kuti kadandaule polisi nayo sikako na nzeru manje tisankhala bwanji muno mziko.
I spoke to Jonah Ward 3 councillor Ponsilo Piri, who assured that measures will be put in place to curb lawlessness.
I raised that issue to say actually these same boys who are doing the recycling, are packing these things for recycling, are the ones who are terrorizing the residents, especially in the evening. And I think from the information I was told was that there are just some people, these same thieves actually were just taking advantage of the place, because it's dark, when those guys have knocked off, are the ones who start terrorizing the resident. So I've taken note of that, and I've informed those who are in charge of the neighborhood watch to ensure that those guys are apprehended and taken to police. 3
of the suspects were arrested. However, if law enforcement wings do not act swiftly, the situation may deteriorate to worst levels. Patrick Soko, Camnet News in Lusaka.
Well, there you have it. Those are some of the forgotten stories that were done here on Camnet TV in 2020 as well as 2021 and 2022 here on Camnet television. And we do remind you of some of the events that took place on this day, and that's what the Forgotten Stories segment is all about. We tend to remind you so that you know of where we are coming from, to help you document our history and also know or remind you of what transpired on this day in the past. And now moving on, we go straight into our next segment, which is the Emerging Stories segment. This is where now we get to update you regarding what is happening today and some of the stories that are likely to be in the main news at 19:30 here on Camnet TV, not just another channel. So to get started, we have a story where the Permanent Secretary in charge of Education Services, Mr. Joe Kamoko, has reaffirmed the government's commitment in the wake of UNESCO to transform lives and drive a sustainable development. Mr. Kamoko made the remarks when he delivered the national policy statement to the 42nd session of the General Assembly of UNESCO, taking place at the organization's headquarters in France, Paris. And he commended the district, the Director General of UNESCO, Ms. Audley Auzole, on her positive global efforts in building vibrant UNESCO, and highlighted significant milestones that Zambia has achieved in the field of education, science, culture, communication, and information. Let's have a look at this story in the Emerging Stories. And we also played back-to-back with a story where we have Siavonga district has been rated amongst the districts that have recorded the highest prevention of HIV new infection. Our provincial AIDS coordinator advisor Rosemary Masaku said this was according to the statistics from the data that shows that Siavonga had the target of testing 9,000 people, but the district managed to test 10,000 people, which is a result of the support it is receiving from stakeholders in the district. So we are going to play these stories back to back, and these are some of the stories that are emerging on this day. Stay tuned.
Finalizing the ICT policy in education to enhance quality teaching and learning, as well as effective management of the education system. Madam President, Zambia is undertaking curriculum reforms in light of the Transforming Education Summit call for action. Zambia has made education from pre-primary to secondary levels free. As a result, over 2 million learners have enrolled in school since 2023. Zambia has further established a UNESCO Chair for Mathematics, Science and Technology Teacher Education for Sustainable Development at the Copperbelt University. The member state wishes to thank UNESCO for support towards the actualization of this UNESCO Chair. Madam President, the country has commenced the development of national occupational standards in the key priority sectors of the review of national qualifications framework to ensure international comparability and recognition of Zambian qualifications. Zambia's involvement in the issuance of UNESCO qualification passports has deepened the country's continued work with UNESCO in creating opportunities for refugees and displaced persons. I am happy to report that Zambia has facilitated the issuance of 44 UNESCO qualification passports to deserving refugees so far. 30 have been admitted to local universities, one to Brescia University in Italy, in an effort to promote equal opportunities for all learners, including the vulnerable and marginalized groups. Accordingly, I wish to appeal for a sustained flow of scholarships or finances to higher education in Zambia to enable the government to support deserving
tremendous job. Siavonga is an example. And it's because there's support that we're getting, especially in terms of prevention. We were expecting that Siavonga would have a very high viral load situations and all that because of the fish camps, because of the treks. But now, you can see that even the positivity yield for Siavonga is 4%. It's high because we are catching the people. We have a target of 9,000 people to be tested, and we tested 10,000. 10,000 something. That shows that at least there are activities happening and sensitization is going on. We might not be doing very well, but I think we are trying. So we do not speak without, we always use data. And we always display data. And even the choice of where we are going to support a district is through data. If we want to get an example, want to go where there's an example of what is working, we'll go where the data shows. Where it's not working, we'll go where the data shows. Already people say, no, we need to go to Siabonga. Or they say justify why we should go there. Okay? Because I can't see any rent. So they say maybe, so I tell them this is what I can share. But we can't go to Siabonga because they're already doing fine. Let's go where they're not doing fine, we motivate them and get them to speed. So that we can all be happy that our province is doing fine. So the data source is important, and we want the NATMIS building. I know for Siabonga the struggle is our partners, community development. But that will help us. The institutions, BSU is under you. Police, we need the data. They need to fill in the SAF. They need to give the data the SAF so that she inputs in the NATMIS. Then we'll get correct data. So I think that is why we have one monitoring and evaluation framework.
Well, thank you for staying with us on the Camnet Lunchtime Cafe. And right about now, we go into our next story pertaining to the emerging story. This is a story where the Zambia police in Lusaka have summoned Patriotic Front Vice President Given Lubinda, Secretary General of the party Rafael Nakachinda, and member of the Central Committee Mr. Emmanuel Mwamba. And when they reported themselves to police service headquarters, the three were directed to go to Ibex police station. The trio spoke to the press before leaving the police headquarters. Now, we hear from what is emerging is that they are likely to be arrested, and especially in the case of Mr. Emmanuel Mwamba. That's according to our reporters on the ground. This is in connection with a story where Mr. Emmanuel Mwamba was calling for mass protest pertaining to the confusion that is happening in the Patriotic Front. So he was urging people to mobilize themselves and go and protest, and the police did warn him to retract the statement. However, he did not retract the statement and said protests are a provision in a provided for rather in a democratic country like Zambia. So let's have a look at this story. We'll be back on the other side. Keep it on Camnet TV, not just another channel.
Watching us by social media, there's been a call out by the police that have called our Vice President, Honorable Given Lubinda, our SG, Honorable Rafael Nakachinda, myself, and others. So we have decided to report to the police to understand why they've made these call outs. Honorable SG.
The continued harassment, brutality through the police meant to silence the voice of the opposition has continued. We are aware there are many speculations of why we have been asked to come to the police, but as it were, champions of democracy, champions of justice, champions of good governance, champions of the liberties and freedoms of the people have never at any time been defeated by dictatorial tendencies, police brutality. It may look fashionable and romantic for Ms. Hakainde to use the police to try and intimidate the opposition. But the end result is that the ultimate authority, which is the people of Zambia, will be able to prevail. Yes. Vice President.
Thank you, all of you who are following us on social media. Pressure makes diamond. And I've stated several times before that for as long as you belong to the opposition in Zambia, you must brace yourself for this kind of treatment. We in the Patriotic Front are now living between police stations and courtrooms. But we are not in any way going to give up the struggle. For the sake of Zambia, for the sake of the current and future generations of Zambia, we shall continue to fight until we liberate this country once again. Yes. Thank you. We're now going to listen to why we've been called, and we hope that we can come and brief you after the interview. Thank you very much.
So there you have it. That is a story pertaining to the Patriotic Front where there have been summoned. That's the leadership. Among them is Given Lubinda, who is the party vice president, Mr. Rafael Nakachinda, the party's secretary general, and the chairperson for information, Mr. Emmanuel Mwamba. They were summoned to appear before the police, and they were advised to go to Ibex police station. And the likelihood of Mr. Mwamba or even the trio being arrested are high. Mr. Mwamba was quoted saying, calling for mass protests, and the police warned him to retract the statement, saying it was going to lead to civil unrest. And he said protests are provided for in a democratic country like Zambia. Hence, he was within his boundaries when he uttered such a statement. So we'll continue to follow that story, but for the better story, you just have to wait for the Camnet TV main news at 19:30. Make sure that you tuned in. Remember that you can always watch Camnet TV on DSTV channel 274, on Topstar channel 106 Lusaka only, as well as on GoTV on channel 25. So make sure that you tuned in to Camnet TV and don't miss out on every latest information that we have in the country. For objective and balanced news is that we give you, our dear viewers. This is where we have to call it a day on the Lunchtime Cafe. This has been Patrick Soko. Until we meet again, remember to always keep it on Camnet TV, not just another channel.